and welcome to yet another episode of Absurd Arguments, where we talk about absurd things and kind of, get into little spats, little arguments about them. My name is Matthew, and I'm here with my good friend Nathan. Nathan, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great, Matthew. How are you doing?
I'm I'm doing okay. I am gearing up for my semester to start. I am in secondary education, or I guess no, I don't know what you call it. Grad work, post grad work.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going for my master's degree, but my classes start up pretty
Oh,
soon, and so hmm?
well, when you said secondary, I thought that was like a British school situation because don't they have primary school like is elementary and then secondary is high school?
Well, I went to primary school. That's what my public school system back home called it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So thought that's what you meant, like a middle school, high school situation.
Yeah, no, I am far past high school age, and if I although I did have a dream one time where I was going back to high school, and I was very like, why am I going back to high school the entire dream? It was weird. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about going back to school because it's that time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's back to school time and Matthew and I we were thinking about that. It was, it was something close to our hearts, something we really appreciate, and you know, it made us reflect on pleasant memories from our own time in school, and so Matthew, what are some pleasant memories you have of those olden days of yesteryear?
Well, for me, I think it's probably just being in band. Some of the best times I had in high school were in band class, and I played alto saxophone, and I just got to be really good friends with the other saxophones, and we're all still sort of connected through social media today. But band was one of those classes to where in the first part of the school year you're doing marching band, you're outside, you're active, it's fun, and it's you're moving around, and then in concert season you sit down and it is extremely boring, especially if your whole section of instruments is doing well, and they're practicing their music. And so me and my friends, uh, we always were good. We were, the band director never really had to, help, try to get us to practice something during our full band practice. And so we would do a lot of sitting around and kind of twiddling our thumbs. And then we started making fun of everyone else in the band. And that's really when it got fun, because we just sit there and talk quietly, making fun of everyone else, especially the clarinets, because clarinet is the worst instrument ever. And so
Why? Wait. Why is the clarinet the worst instrument ever?
So the clarinet is really difficult to play. You have to hold it in a certain position. Your embouchure, or how you shape your mouth to fit around the mouthpiece and the reed, has to be a specific way, and it's very hard to play. And the problem is a lot of people don't know how to play the clarinet. And so anytime you're listening to like a band performance and you hear a big squeak, it's probably a clarinet player. So that's why I think it's the worst, because they just made it very difficult to play, and then they just gave it to children and like, here, try
And
it out.
and so you played like the recorder, right? That was your instrument?
The alto saxophone. Although I do have a recorder. You want me to get it out and play it for you right now?
Oh gosh, no.
Oh, okay.
Hey, only if you don't mind if I get my harmonica and I start wailing on that thing.
Hmm. See, this isn't a music podcast, but so
It could be.
I don't want it to be. So that was kind of my best part of high school. It's just band in general was so much fun. But Nathan, what about you growing up? Go in your school days. How was that?
Personally, Matthew, I'm shocked because well, Matthew, I'm shocked because I personally thought you were homeschooled. Um,
You continue to say this, and it aggravates me greatly because I don't know what about me makes me sound like I'm homeschooled. Is it because I don't say enough cuss words?
yeah, you
Is
don't
that it?
cuss enough. Yeah, you don't have like a tattoo on your bicep that says "mom" and it's in the middle of a heart.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well,
Oh
see,
my
since I was a homeschooler, that's what I imagine public schools like. Everyone gets tattoos. Everyone's cussing. It's
Now,
just like
okay,
a
so most people are cussing, but not everyone has a tattoo.
not every. Well, they lied to me in our homeschool meetings.
What did they talk about in your homeschool meetings?
They said they said that in public school there is it's like warring factions, you know, and and that you have to quickly find your tribe just to survive. And like I've seen movies from like the 80s, and so there's bullies everywhere just beating the tar out of people, you know. Um so you got to make sure and you got to just stand up for yourself against the bullies. They're probably leaders of their own warring tribes. So that was just one of the things they told us in our homeschool meetings.
Now, I, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Nah, it's
And
okay. We don't
no,
really have homeschool meetings like that.
oh, so you lied.
I would never.
Oh, really?
I don't even know how to spell the word.
Well, that's homeschool education for you.
Hey, hey, you take that back.
Hey, you set it up. I close the door, so that's all I'm doing.
Pleasant memories from school. So I did go. I wasn't like I don't know, a
Like a
pure.
hermit.
Yeah, I wasn't a hermit. I had like a 1 day a week academy thing I went to. Um, and it was a lot of fun because we would learn. It was more like a classical education, and so you do your homework during the week, and then come back for the lectures or whatever.
Hmm.
And it was a blast. But they had weird rules. So like, uh, I guess they're not weird. They're just super polite. Like anytime a woman or a girl entered the room, all the guys in the room had to stand up. You
Oh,
know,
that's cute.
yeah, it is. But the worst was girls who like would take advantage of this. And so they would like leave the room frequently and then come back just for us all to stand up, you know. And I remember there
Now,
was
now,
this
now. So
huh.
I do have a question. Did they leave like while a teacher was giving a lecture, and so they would come back, and then you'd have to stop taking notes, stand up, and then sit back down?
Well, if you had waited about 5.6 seconds, you would have figured it out because I'm about to tell you.
Oh,
uh,
great.
I'm about to answer that question. Yeah, so there's this one girl, and we would have like our history class right after lunch at this time, and so she would come in like right when you know she would like go to the bathroom right
Mm.
when he started his lecture. It was so annoying, and so she'd come back, and we'd all stand up. I mean, us guys, and then we'd sit down. And so one time, I think my teacher was getting sick of it, and so she gets up to go to the restroom, and he's like, "Everybody, come with me." And so we all get up, and we all go to where the girls' bathroom is, and we all just stood in front of a circle, like a semicircle around the bathroom door.
Oh
And,
no.
I didn't even know it was the girls' bathroom, so I was standing right smack dab in front of the door, and so they told me to move, and so I joined the circle, and so we waited, and when she exited the bathroom, everyone goes, "Surprise!"
Oh.
And she was mortified and terrified, and, it it was it was a very successful ploy to never have her do that again.
That's just bullying.
Okay, Matthew, no, no, it's not. We actually had a
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, that's a common case of bullying right there.
it
And
is,
not only that, your teacher was leading it.
bruh. We didn't do nothing bad to her. Like it was just
It's a psychological warfare situation, my guy.
no. You want to know what true bullying is? With our whole policy of standing up, whenever a girl enters the room.
Sure, yeah, I
Okay,
guess.
so one time we had this two guys in my class, and one was like your typical frat boy jock type,
Mhm, mhm.
a real jerk, and we had this one guy. I felt bad for him because he's kind of effeminate, just really frail, sickly looking kid,
Gosh, the
and
type that you hate the most, right?
no, I was friends with him, you jerk.
Oh,
Anyway,
oh, sorry.
uh, so anyway, the sickly guy comes in, the frail guy comes in. And, that frat boy stood up when he walked in.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
gentleman.
No. That's the psychological bullying warfare there. But hey, same teacher called out that guy and was like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Dang.
He's like, "Oh, I thought it was a girl that walked in, blah, blah, blah." And he was like, "Sit your butt down."
Oh gosh, he said, "But."
He did. We all giggled.
That was probably the strongest language used by teachers at a homeschool thing. What is it?
I mean,
What did you
it
call it?
was, it was a classical academy.
It says okay. Anyways, so yeah.
You could call it a co-op if you really want to.
Oh, that's the word I was looking for. Co-op.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of co-op, we're gonna change the game today.
Yeah.
We're not going to be arguing over anything, but we're going to be cooperating to send you with the best information that we possibly could find.
Yeah, we are allies this time.
Mm.
We want to help the younger generation as they prepare for school.
Yes, and that's an important step, especially, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Sometimes starting a new year it can be a little difficult sometimes, especially if you're going to a new school or you're dealing with new teachers. It can be intimidating, and so we want to make sure that everyone here is well equipped to take that next step.
I mean, for me, I just want to know how to survive, you know?
Mm.
I mean,
Especially when teachers bully you constantly every week.
he wasn't a bully. She was bullying us. She's the one who kept coming in making us stand up during her lecture.
Mm. I mean, because it's just that teacher created an atmosphere of bullying to where everything was permissible.
Not everything was permissible. Not everything was constructive. Uh, but anyway,
Yes. Joking aside, it's time to get serious.
yes, we are very serious about starting school and just surviving. How to survive your time.
Yes. And we used the top survival information we could find, given, it was on the internet. But we went to the two places that everyone goes to for information. Nathan, where did you go?
I went to YouTube and I typed in how to survive and clicked on the first thing that came up. What?
I'm excited to see what came up then.
Yep.
I, I, YouTube's a wonderful place. I was less fortunate because I was given the cesspool known as Reddit.com.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Reddit's got some opinions. And I was, I read a lot of them. I read more than I wanted to. And I
Yeah.
read a lot that were just like, why are we talking about this? But I did find a few nuggets, a few diamonds in the rough. And so I will bring those to the table.
Well, great. Well, you can share them after we cue the music. Let's see. I think I have a pretty good tidbit that I think would be a good starter of like what you need to bring to
Mm,
school.
mm.
Um, like what you need to bring to survive. And I think the most important one is you got to bring your brain, Matthew.
You know what? I would agree. If you didn't bring your brain, you'd probably die. But yeah, you bring
Well,
your brain. Yeah,
I mean, so many people think that you gotta like it's all about brawn. Like it all that matters is, hey, am I a bigger guy? Am I gonna be able to, do I have the muscles to make it? But no, you just need to bring your brain and think and be innovative and creative.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know what being the bigger guy unless you're trying out for like a sports team or something. Like, I mean, football. I never played football. I was not. I don't like violence, but I also don't like getting hurt.
Oh, I thought you did play football, Mr. Soccer Boy.
No, I played real football that you actually, the entire game the foot is touching or the ball's touching the foot. And so that's real football, not American football.
Wow, you think you're better than us Americans, eh?
No, cuz I am an American.
Oh, but yeah, you got to bring your brain, Matthew. You need that to
Uh,
survive.
It's it's true. Um you know what else you need? So on Reddit, I was looking up so many things, and on the subreddit r/toddlers, there was a someone that asked, what are some advice and tips for a first day of preschool? Now, in the intro, I talked about setting a standard, the right, putting the right foot first, whatever the old saying goes. I don't know, I'm lost for words. But the thing is, the first day of preschool, not just the kids' first day of school, but it's also the parents' first day of school, because it's my I've got tons of friends that have all had kids at the exact same time, pretty much, and so they're all around 8 months, 6 months, 4 months, and so they're all kind of gearing up and spending lots of time with their kid, and then until their kid is preschool age, they're going to be with them constantly, and it's that first time where you let them go. It can be a
Yeah,
struggle sometimes, and so r/toddlers comes in strong.
yeah,
And yes, and this user says, I found a lengthy buildup didn't really help. Keeping it very low key, you're big enough to start school, yay! On the first day was best. The uncertainty builds up as if you're bringing it up without actually happening, and their memory and attention spans are so different from adults. Also, introducing them directly to a teacher who can help them uh, acclimate, that's a word, is good. And if possible, take him to the school for a short visit to the grounds and a few days beforehand. And so it's just, slowly, not just like this big buildup where you're just like, oh, you're finally able to go to school. It's just, as it gets closer, you just kind of like, oh, yay, it's almost time to go to school. And so very, very, gently kind of bringing that point up without, putting it in their face. And so, yeah, I would say this parent is thinking with their brain and not with their brawn. Don't you think?
well, see, I I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a single guy who has no children of my own, but maybe it's fun to leave your crying child with a teacher and be like, "Good luck, buddy." You know?
Oh
Like
my gosh,
hey,
no.
hey, good luck, you know? So,
You're
but
you're like, oh my, it's almost like you're gonna
what?
so it's like you're gonna take your kid to school and go have fun and then like leave for the rest of its for the school year.
Yeah, well, like you leave them, you just, hey, you look at here's what you do. Okay. Here's my parenting advice. You can listen to me. I'm the oldest of six children. I know what I'm talking about. You get down on their level, you look them in the eye and you say, "This is your home now." And then you just walk away.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Well, see, eventually your kid's gonna get it because the people outside they don't understand. Like parents have been away from the game way too long. You know, they don't get how it is anymore. Times have changed. Things are different now.
No, they're not.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
You don't drop your kid off for school and then pick them up on the last day of school. They actually have to come home unless you send them off to a boarding school. But kids this young, 2, 3, I don't know how old how old it is when you start preschool, but you don't just like drop them off. When I was a little kid, we had a my preschool was at my church, and but my grandparents came and picked me up every day. What kind
Look,
of preschool did you go to? Oh wait, never
I,
mind.
shut up. I look. Hey, honestly, you're
You
right.
you
My
probably wished that you could stay away from your house for an entire year.
my parents did exactly what your redditor suggested. They brought me to the door of my house. They said, "This is your school now. This is no longer home."
Oh, what a depressing way to send your kid off to school.
They're like,
Oh my.
"Oh, let's get dressed and ready for the first day of school. Oh, mismatched clothes. What do I care? You're gonna be at home."
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah. Well, I've got another tip from you
okay.
too.
Yeah, hopefully it's better than that one.
No, bringing your brain's important, man. You need to bring a book. It gets really boring in there, and so you got to do whatever it takes to pass the time, man. And so you make sure to
Mhm.
bring a book.
Now,
Um, hmm,
so school has a lot of books though.
yeah,
So you're
yeah,
saying don't read those books they provide, bring your own book?
yeah. Just in case, if you like sci-fi or fantasy or whatever, you could bring one of those.
Yeah, but there's a growing list of banned books in a lot of schools. And
Yeah.
so what if you bring one of those books?
Oh, I hate music, so I would never listen. I would never read a band book.
Oh my gosh. Banned, banned
uh,
books, as in you are
the
not allowed to
European.
read this book.
I understand the British spelling. I understand.
What does it not have two N's in it?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, whew, I was about to say, oh no.
You know, I would say, look, bring your own book, but I will say, if you want to read the school's books, that's a great way to get one of those Domino Pizza Hut party things.
It's
Like,
true, yeah.
hey, I was homeschooled, but even I was jealous of the Pizza Hut reading party thing. Like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah,
did you
growing
ever
up,
get?
we had little. It was called AR points. It was accelerated reading, and so each book that you had was set up with a certain amount of points that you could get, and
Yeah,
so you would um, you would read the book and you would take a test and you get the points. And my best friend growing up, who is now a neurosurgeon here in Texas, a brilliant guy. He was our valedictorian when we graduated high school. He was reading through the entirety of the series of unfortunate events in middle school. And being his best friend, I wanted to try to keep up with him so we could talk about it.
yeah.
However, I was not the valedictorian of my school. And so he was finishing these books in like days.
Oh
And he would
gosh,
finish the book in like, oh gosh, I don't even remember, like a week or so. And I'd be on like the third chapter because when I got home, I did not read the series of unfortunate events. I was playing video games. And
nice.
so he was much more dedicated to things like that while I was too busy trying to stop Xehanort from getting to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Well, did he do that? No. And look where he is now. Oh wait.
Exactly. Man, I shouldn't have brought that up.
No. Yeah, man. But I'm telling you, that was like, and confession time. I was
Mm,
not a great reader when I was a kid. I
hmm.
hated reading. Um, my dad will probably get like many crowns in heaven for the suffering he went through to try to teach me how to read. and, uh, and but I don't know, it finally clicked in like maybe middle school, high school, where I was like, oh my gosh, reading's amazing. you know?
See, it wasn't until, gosh, maybe my second, no, third year in college where I was like, maybe reading isn't so bad. In
Yeah.
a college to where almost every single homework assignment was reading parts of a book. And it took me
That's
3 years to kind of click, is like, maybe reading isn't so bad.
yeah. Yeah, that was like my third year of high school where I finally was like, cool, I think I've mastered reading now.
Now you say all these things of you drop your kid off. Well, another redditor has something to say against that. Um, it she the I say she. I'm assuming it's
I
just a
mean, come on.
it. It's on r/toddlers. I doubt it's a dude.
I really.
But she says, I agree with telling them that mama always comes back, but you should also prepare yourself to leave while they're crying too. So kind of along the lines of what you said. After an attempt to calm them down or two, it is likely that you staying is just delaying their adjustment period.
Yeah.
But 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 I had to leave my daughter when she was 2 years old, crying when I dropped her off at school for the first time. And I had to leave after half an hour later. And they checked in and said that she was calm and playing. And so it's hard on the first one or two shots, but eventually it sets in because, you eventually come and pick your kid up and
Yeah.
you don't just leave them there.
Matthew, no offense, but the way you said playing sounded like the word plane. So I just imagine them calling and being like, your daughter's calm and plain. She's so boring. We
Gosh,
preferred her when she
that
was
would be my
crying.
daughter. That would be my daughter.
Uh,
Man. Gosh,
gosh.
that reminds me. That reminds me when I was working with students at a school one time. I had a students come up and I asked me, so what do you do when you're off and not working? I was like, oh, sometimes I'll play video games or just hang out and read a little bit while I'm in my apartment, and I'm just use that time as to relax. And they go, wow, you sound very boring. And I was like, thanks. You didn't have to tell me that.
Yay, one man's boring is another man's exciting day.
Exactly, exactly. So so yeah, but it's important that it's not just maybe you're transitioning your kid from homeschool to public school or anything like that. It's sometimes it can be disheartening for the kid to think, oh, I've just got to be around all these losers all day. And
Yeah.
you have to reassure them that it's okay, we'll come back and pick you up, because you're not going to leave them there, because that is child endangerment, I would assume. And so something that CPS can get involved in. And so you know I don't know if what you're saying is actually good, but
Mm,
that's kind of beside the point. So I have another thing. I have I
yeah.
have one that says stop reading Reddit and just study. Um,
Ugh.
and so one way to get back to school and get up and going is to get off the internet and actually do your schoolwork, which I would say that's a good thing. And speaking from experience, in my very first semester in college, I did exactly the opposite. I watched a ton of YouTube videos. I played a lot of video games, and I finished that semester with a 1.5 GPA.
Hey, good for you, man.
Thanks. I really pulled it together somehow, and then I eventually graduated. 6 years later, but that's beside the point. Is once I figured out maybe I should actually do the schoolwork and I won't fail these classes. That's when it started kind of, getting itself together. And so not just staying off Reddit, but staying away from, certain things that will distract you, and actually do your schoolwork. I know my
Yeah,
friend Tim is going to be laughing at me right now because he's going to be like, I told you that. And I mean, you did, but I just didn't listen. But look at me now.
right. Yeah,
I'm living the good life, I
yeah, you
guess.
graduated.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I get you. Like, I don't know. So when I went to college, I went there the same time as my little sister. Like, I delayed going to college a couple years,
Mhm.
which honestly I'm cool with. I think it was a good foundation for me, just working and getting my feet under me, and I felt really mature going into college. Um, but but it was funny because I'd always be friends. My friends were all these really smart kids who'd study all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
these smart guys, and I do not study all the time. I balanced working, having fun. Like, I had a balanced college experience.
Mhm.
Um, and I would procrastinate sometimes on papers, and my sister would get mad at me because my friends would go to her and they'd say, "Go talk to Nathan and make sure he's studying." And she'd be like, "Why don't you go talk to him yourself?" She was like, "I don't want to talk to him."
Yeah.
So yeah,
All of my siblings have we did not go to the same school, nor did we go to the same school at the same time for college, and so we never had that experience.
yeah,
My brother and sister went to the same college, but he had already finished, um, and before she had started college, and then I just went to a completely different city.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
I have another tip because we haven't really talked about clothing. Like when you go back to school.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you always got to look good.
Right.
It's a new year. Maybe it's a new you.
Yeah,
You got to just put yourself in the right. I don't
yeah.
know what these sayings are. I'm just saying stuff, man. I don't know. You got to do
Well,
it.
when you go to school, they're gonna provide when you go to for your first day, they're gonna
You
provide
put
you.
your best foot forward. That's the saying. Oh my gosh.
You got it. So you go. It's your first day in. You've gotten past the guards, and they're gonna give you your certain, you know, your the clothes you're gonna have to wear the rest of the time you're there. And so what you need to do is you do need to look around and see
Mhm.
what kind of footwear everybody's wearing, because
Mhm.
if they're all wearing flip-flops and like sandals and things like that, like flip-flops, it's kind of a chill school, like a chill place, like
Yeah.
not much is going to go down. But if they're wearing like boots and shoes, stuff is going down a lot. And in that place you've got to be on high alert because you could get jumped at any time, you know?
Wait a second. Wait a
Mm.
second.
Like, you can just feel the tension in the air if you see people wearing shoes and boots and things like that. What?
What? I mean, I grew up in a small town, and
Yeah.
one of the big parts of my school was the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, and
Yeah.
most of the people at my school wore shoes and boots,
Uh-huh.
but there wasn't really any. Well, as far as I knew, I wasn't involved in anything because, as stated earlier, I'm extremely boring. But
Yeah.
so I didn't. I was never on high alert, and I made it through high school fine. What are you
Well,
talking? What? What?
look, I, I don't I don't see what look, I found this YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
This guy named Larry Lawton. He
Mm-hmm.
let me oh no. Um so the video was called 10 Unwritten Rules in Prison. Oh my gosh, Matthew, this is
Prison.
embarrassing. Oh my gosh, Matthew. I put I just put down how to survive, and I guess the first thing that came up, I thought it would be school because I've had so many students go like, "Oh, school's prison, school's prison." I guess I thought that's what he was meaning. I'm so sorry. What am I?
So when you said that they distribute the clothes, you're talking about like the orange jumpsuit kind of clothes?
Yeah. Oh gosh, dude, that was all. Bro, what do we like? I don't have time to go research something else, dude. Like, I don't know. Is
Yeah,
it
because you
cool?
barely have enough time to research the topic at hand,
Hey
anyways.
now. Hey, look, I I'm gonna keep going with what I have. Um
Okay. All right.
so So yeah. Another thing I wanted to bring up: deodorant. The deodorant they give you there does
Yeah.
not is awful and does not work. So your goal is to try to get some good deodorant from whoever you can get it from. You know?
Now, so
Huh.
we're talking prison, right?
I that surprisingly that one does apply to school as well.
Yes, it does. Except with school, you can actually ask your parents, it's like, hey, this deodorant sucks. And they're like, tough toenails. It was 75 cents. Um, but you still have the opportunity to get better deodorant. But with
Yeah.
prison,
Uh, Dude, I don't know how, but you do have the opportunity to get better deodorant. And he said that the guys who have really strong body odor get jumped more often. So you got to smell good,
okay, now that seems weird.
right?
I know we're talking about back to school and you're actually talking about surviving prison. That's kind of weird, but just kind of out of the bit right now, that's
Yeah.
weird to me. That the people who smell the
Right?
worst, the people who
Well,
smell the worst get jumped the most. What the
I'd
heck
get
is that?
ticked. I don't want to be around those stinky dudes.
Fair enough, I guess, but that's just like in a world of other things to be worried about. If you smell bad, well,
Yeah.
granted, I guess that can also apply to school because there was one time uh, in soccer practice, someone was complaining that someone's deodorant had worn off, and the first thought that came to my mind is, dude, we're in the middle of soccer practice. Why are you worried about people smelling bad?
Yeah, it's too late for them.
Exactly.
I
So,
remember in college, the soccer team, a bunch of European guys
mhm.
that we had, and apparently they wouldn't shower after practice sometimes. They would just go to the dining hall and they would just spray on deodorant to cover themselves. Like
Dude,
use that spray
that
on
sounds like
cologne.
high school guys. They
Dude,
just transplanted from high school to a college.
yeah, it was something else.
Well,
So yeah. Well, I guess deodorant is key wherever you go.
well, this next point I have is not for prison,
Oh,
but it is better for school. And this redditor says on the r/life pro tips, put yourself out there. Studying and getting good grades are important. You got to put yourself out there beyond a book. Join interesting clubs, people who seem cool in the club, and clubs is now this is like high school like programs and other things like
oh,
that. So
not those clubs.
not like clubbing clubs where you go and there's like music kind of going on,
Yeah, not
but
the
like
Jersey Shore clubs.
right, like the chess club. Why was that the first club that came to mind?
It's yeah,
Or similar extracurricular activities. And so
yeah.
you join interesting clubs, people who seem cool in the clubs that align with your long-term interests. Those connections help you get through the tough time in school and in the future. And this next person put, wish my school had a Smash club, but a D&D club is cool as well. And so I was like, hold on a second. And then I thought, oh, yes, Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, that.
But they also had a Dungeons and Dragons club.
Which is just as cool.
No, it's cool as well. Yeah. He's
uh,
like, man, I wish we could play Nintendo, but I guess we got to role play as, I don't know, wizards and stuff.
right. Gosh.
Um, yeah, but that first part, put yourself out there, that's not what you want to do at prison. Would
Oh,
you agree?
Matthew, I don't know what you're talking about. All of my advice, like Matthew, play along. It's all about school. What
Oh,
I'm talking about.
I do apologize.
Yeah, it's not about prison at all. Like the audience doesn't have to know.
Fair enough. So I've also got another part of r/life pro tips, and
Yeah.
this one got a Reddit award. It got Reddit
Ah.
gold. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
And
so
there's a list of
great.
6 things, but I do not want to go through these 6 things. I'm going to go
Oh thank
through
goodness.
some of the top ones. The first one is you don't have to ask to leave the room. This is in college.
Yeah.
I guess I should say he starts out with some things I wish I had been told when I started college. He says, "You don't have to ask to leave the room. Go to the bathroom. Go get coffee or a snack. Go fill your water bottle. Professors don't care if you leave and come back as long as you don't interrupt. Putting up your hand is, to ask is interrupting." And so he states that, if you have to go to the bathroom in college, I mean, most of those people are adult-ish.
Yeah.
They're getting there in maturity wise, and so this is something that I did. Is anytime I had to go to the bathroom, I wasn't going to wait for a lull in the class. I'm like, it's time to go. So I just stood up
Yeah.
and went to the bathroom. And there was also one time. Now I am not a coffee drinker. I think coffee is disgusting. But
Okay.
there was
Lame.
one time in class where I was just struggling to stay awake. And so in the middle of class, I did what this guy said. I went up and I got a coffee.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Did it did it help?
I got caffeine. I didn't like the taste, but I got caffeine. Yeah, I stayed awake the rest of the class. So
Yeah.
now I will say this won't really work in high school because it's,
Oh, right. You need to ask permission.
yeah, that's the good thing to do. But in college or anything like that, I mean, you're an adult. You have
Yeah.
to make sure that you're prepared, and if you're not prepared, you're not prepared. And so, but that was a good one. And he had another one where he said,
Yeah.
if you have mandatory attendance rates, they will most likely be willing to give you some leeway if you have been an active participant and they want you to pass. And so, this is kind of a lie because I have heard of people who went through college and had professors that actively worked against them sometimes and were just really, really nasty about it. But it's important, that we, make sure that we're in class as often as we can, but also if you're showing that you're participating in class, you're being a part of the discussion or the lecture, then if something comes up, your professor will probably understand. He's like, you're doing really well, and so we'll give you a little grace here and there.
You and I have different attitudes towards skipping class. Because my thing is be strategic, you know?
Mm,
Like if you know it's going to be a dull day, it's like, okay, I'm skipping class. Or you just got to be strategic, Like just don't skip it all the time or willy-nilly. You got to be strategic like, okay, there's going to be a test that day. I probably shouldn't skip class, you know?
Shameful.
Or, oh,
Shameful.
we're just going to review for the test coming up. Cool. I'm
See, that's the
already
class you should be at because then that's the class where your professor's like, oh, all of this stuff I'm about to talk about is going to be on the test. And so that's
yeah.
your cue to go, maybe I should go to that class so I can pass this test.
Yeah. No, I disagree. if you took your if you took good enough notes on your own and everything, you really don't need to go.
You can never be too sure because there have been plenty of tests where I was like, I've got this. And I get to take the test, and none of what I studied was on there.
Now, to be fair, this is advice coming from me, a B and B, mostly B student. So if you want A's, yeah, you should do what Matthew says and go all the time.
Now, did
But
you
I
did you
would
have
get A's
anything
every now
else?
and then. Yeah, you got to watch out for snitches, Matthew.
I mean, yeah, if you're skipping class, or be like Nathan's skipping class again. I mean, yeah, of course you got to
Like,
watch out for them.
I mean, if they're going to the teachers, if these snitches are going to the teachers and like telling on you, like that's a real bad look on them. And so you don't want to be that guy and you don't want to know that guy. You know what I'm saying?
But I would counter that with you would probably want to know who that guy is.
I mean, you know, but you don't want to know that guy. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. Another thing, another thing to help you survive, you need a friend.
This is true. You do need a
Yeah.
friend to get through
Like
school.
Yeah, and if you're like at a boarding school, you want to make sure like your cell roommate is not a psychopath, you know? Like you do whatever it takes to get
You only
yourself a
have so much
normal
control over that, though.
dude. You can get yourself thrown into the hole, man, or something. Like you make a stink so that you don't get partnered with the psychopath kid, you know? Uh you want a
Is that how
normal
boarding school
roommate.
works?
No. This is all the research I have. But back to the thing about making a friend. Let's
Yeah,
say, okay, so there's showers at school, right?
sure, in the locker room.
Okay, well, sometimes if you go to the shower, you gotta have a friend watching your back and making sure nobody bothers you while you're taking the shower. That's a thing. It's like, Lawrence, watch my back. I'm soaping up, right?
I I
That's
I'm at a loss for words. That's prison, dude.
no,
That's straight up prison.
dude, no.
Dude, I was the captain of my high school varsity team.
Yeah.
Never had that issue.
You never had a friend like watch out to make sure you didn't get jumped, make
Yeah,
sure you didn't get
we're
attacked.
teammates.
Oh,
If one of our teammates goes down, we weren't gonna be as good the next game.
what if it was like the other team?
They're in a completely different room. And at that point, they're probably in a completely different town in a different school.
I don't know.
That
I
I would because I was there. You were freaking homeschooled.
I would do that prank. Have you ever seen that prank where like somebody's washing their hair? It's usually at one of those beachside showers and they're washing their hair and then someone keeps pouring shampoo over the over the wall. So they keep washing and washing and it never rinses free. I think that'd be a great prank.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
When you go, oh, dude, we haven't talked about the lunch, the cafeteria.
Yeah, because what eat
When
your
you go,
lunch.
when you go to the cafeteria, do not sit in the head honcho seat. Like there's one guy, you don't want to tick off the guy. You got to know school politics because sometimes you may be in a mobster school and there's like the head mobster and he's sitting at the table. If you sit in that guy's seat, you're done for. You got to be respectful, know your place.
Now, like we always had we didn't have assigned seats. We in middle school we did have an assistant principal that was a stickler for, you know, talking too loud, and so but it was a smaller school building and the noise carried. But if we got too loud, then we had to be sit in assigned seating. But other than that, we just kind of sat wherever we wanted. But you had your seat, and that's where you just ate lunch every day. And if you were, you know, sit with a friend group, then you would kind of sit in the same general area. But so I mean, I
Ooh,
guess, but head
Matthew.
honcho.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for the mobsters. Matthew, did you ever do that classic thing they tell you about, like where there was the lonely kid and you sat by the lonely kid and was his friend?
No, I'm terrified of strangers.
Aw, even the lonely kid?
Dude, that was me. No, I'm just kidding.
Aw, I would have believed it.
No, I always sat with my friends.
Wow,
Yeah, man,
dang. I hope you've grown.
I have, but strangers still scare me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you shouldn't go to prison then.
I plan on it.
Honestly, I recommend watching that video. You never know. And so it's just really useful stuff. He recommends, so you know how you hear that thing about when you go to jail, you need to fight the biggest guy?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that.
He said don't do that in prison.
Yeah, you know that makes sense.
He goes, don't do that in prison cuz this is your home for the next few years. But with county jail, you got to prove, hey, don't mess with me.
Oh my gosh.
No, this guy, I don't know. His stuff's kind of fun. He used to be a jewel thief. he
Yeah, he
was a
would know all about prison.
Yeah, he was a jewel thief.
Oh
He
my
spent
gosh.
11 years in prison.
Yeah, he would probably know a thing or two about surviving prison.
Yeah,
Um, he probably doesn't remember too much about surviving school, which was, the theme of the podcast this week. But
right. Oh, yeah, that was it. I'm so sorry, Matthew.
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
just was like, I want to know how to survive school, and it just popped up, and that's how it went.
if you'd actually typed out how to survive school, that would have probably taken you to reruns of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Oh, that's a great show. And it's
It
on
was a
Netflix, I
classic.
think, right now,
Oh, is
currently.
it? Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it and go, this was better in my memory.
Yeah, leave it there.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I guess that's it for our argument. I mean our collaboration. Um, so I guess we should just cue the music, huh?
Yeah, I guess we should. Well, folks, this was an episode for sure.
Yeah, it
Wouldn't you
was.
agree?
Yeah, it was something a little different. Is a nice little change of pace. You know, we just helping the kids prepare for their futures, wherever that may be.
In school, hopefully. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh. I just don't I just don't know what to think anymore. Oh
Sorry.
my gosh.
Yeah. But but yeah, it was. I thought um, yeah, it was something.
I guess engaging, because
Right.
the more you thought about what you were saying, it was like, oh wait, this isn't school.
Yeah. Well, we need to remind people that we do have an Instagram and Facebook.
We do.
And if you have any recommendations for an idea, an argument y'all would like us to solve, you know, we'd love to hear it. So you can
Mhm.
send your suggestions our way through those channels, or you can email us in our email, which is absurdargumentsforyou@gmail.com. That's absurd arguments, the number four, and the letter U at gmail.com.
Yeah, and you could also, send us your funny stories of going through school, or we talked about this in a previous episode, but embarrassing moments from school, things like that. But also, you could use that as an opportunity to say, hey, y'all are doing great, give us some encouragement, or you can use it as a way to say, hey, you suck. And I'll be like, thanks for emailing. I appreciate your response.
We'll just get excited and go, ah, an email.
Yeah, because I'm tired of getting ads of this dude named Alex trying to get me to get guests on this podcast, and I don't know if guests are prepared for the amount of absurdity, especially from episodes like this.
Yeah, my little brother has a coworker who has a podcast, and he told him, about my podcast, and the guy got all excited and was like, "Oh, he should be a guest on mine." And what's his podcast about? And it's like absurd arguments, and he's like, "Oh." So our collaboration with other podcasters may be well into our future.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have a certain palate, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
But
that's a good way
well,
of putting it.
well, folks, that's gonna do it for us this week. Nathan, do you have any parting words?
No, I hope y'all have a great school year, and I just hope you survive.
And I hope you stay out of prison, because that's what we're really shooting for.
Yeah, stay in school, kids.
Yeah. Don't be too cool for school. Be cool in school, I
Yeah,
guess.
bye bye.
Bye. Gosh, that was ridiculous.